Hi, I hope we have everybody here. I'm so looking forward to today's web chat because we're talking about subjects that are dear to my heart, things that I write about. I'm Marsha Collier. I'm the author of the For Dummies series of books on eBay, social media, e-commerce. I just love making a living online. And whether you have a brick and mortar business or an online business, there are ways you can integrate your marketing and make online and offline work for you. So, I want to thank you all for participating in the 2012 Indicia Thinking Forward live chat series, which is brought to you by Dymo Indicia. It's actually the fourth of 6 live discussions that are being hosted either by me or my fellow e-commerce expert John Lawson, cold or ice. If you missed the first 3 discussions in the series, you can watch the full videos right here on thinkingforward.tumblr.com. So today we're going to talk about online and offline marketing strategies, how you can evaluate and determine where to allocate your funds so they're going to work the hardest for you. Before I get started, I want to remind everyone that you can ask questions while we're doing the chat and leave comments throughout the chat. Below the screen, you're going to see a social stream. You got it? I hope you do, because that way you can submit comments and ask me something. If I can see it and I can answer it, I will do that. So you'll need to log in with your Facebook, Twitter, Google, or Ustream account to do this. So everybody, take a moment, be sure to log in. Okay, I'm just about ready to go. So I hope you're signed in, and let's get going. People ask me, what do you mean by offline marketing? Now, offline marketing is kind of traditional marketing. It's the kind of stuff we used to do. I started my business doing marketing for shopping centers and retail stores way before the internet was a big deal. And people were shopping and very happily getting the message. So how were they getting the message? Well, in the old days, we used print media, newspapers, which, much to my chagrin, there's not a whole lot of newspapers delivered to the door anymore. Magazine ads, direct mail pieces. We used posters, banners, all kinds of ways to reach people where they are. So this brings to the central core. Where are your customers today? Are your customers out in the world? Are they online? How can you best connect to them? Well, we all know that we love to think that everybody is online. But to be perfectly honest with you, I've spoken to some very smart people I don't consider to be non-savvy, let's say, and they aren't shopping a lot online. There's a distinct amount of people who still seem to think that eBay is a garage sale. No, they don't get it. So we're still in the infancy of the online world. So what you need to do to reach the largest amount of people is to reach out offline. And your offline is often going to combine with your online presence. Now, if you have an online-only business, you might say, I don't need to do any offline reach. But that's not really true because the competition is out there. It used to be if you had a store, you'd pick the finest address with the largest amount of foot traffic, and hopefully you'd open your doors and people would come. But when I worked for a newspaper in the advertising department, we used to say if the first ad we get is your grand opening ad, and you do nothing after that, the next ad we're going to get is your going out of business sale. And that always ended up true. So what you've got to do, if you've got any sort of business, and I'm even talking brick and mortars or professionals, doctors, lawyers, you need to have an offline reach and an online reach. Online people, you want your neighbors to shop with you if you're online. You want all those people who might be afraid of going online to shop with you. So we're going to reach them offline and tie it in and bring them into the web, bring them into our web world so they can connect through social media, through the various things they have heard about, at the very least through email. So let's talk about a few things. Online sellers. When you ship out a product, do you send out a note or do you just put a packing slip in it? A packing slip is very, very 20th century. And by the way, we're in the 21st century. You just don't want a packing slip. You want to have a note. I print up personalized notes and I sign many on a page. I print them up 4 up to an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, or you can do 2 up depending on how much you want to put in it, and enclose a note with your package. Sometimes I'll even include a small gift, like during the holidays. I have some pre-packaged for the ladies' things that I send out, little organza bags with lavender in them, just as a little gift. Because if someone shops with you once, you want them to remember you. So this is part of your offline reach. Once that package arrives at their door, what do they think of you? Are you using recycled boxes? I mean, have you ever gotten a package, and it comes in, let's say, a toilet paper box or box from the supermarket? You'd wonder, what was this person thinking? So think about how you present yourself when you send an order out. That's very important. What do they think of you? Have a nice new box. Send a thank you note. You can send that packing slip. That's important. But also send instructions. If there's any special care on the item that you're shipping, have those pre-printed and keep them by the item. Even clip them to the bin that you pick the item out of. Take one, throw it in every box. I never send anything out without instructions and a thank you note. That way, they're going to remember doing business with me gives them customer service. Again, customer service, as you know, I wrote the online customer service guide, but customer service, once the product gets in the customer's hand, makes you stand out as a business and makes them remember you. Okay, so let's take a look at this slide. This is a David Armano slide. Smart guy. I like him a lot. But he shows here some of the different ways you can tie in a marketing program. Interactive marketing, on the monitor, social media networks, digital experiences, customer service. I'm going to talk a lot about customer service. And you need to know that customer service is what's going to make you stand out from the other businesses. You've got all these different ways of looking at your business. So, okay, you're looking at your business. There are so many options out there. Wondering, thinking ahead. Forrester did a study. They spoke to 4,300 customers. Let me show you a little graph. Thinking ahead. How likely is it that you will buy a product or service in the following ways over the next 3 to 6 months? Now, I'm going to show you a detail from this, but realize this is only online customers. And if you go about to the middle, we define here super buyers, connected traditionalists, and connected traditionalists. Let's think of those people who are online, but they have a more traditional way of doing things. And if you look at some of these responses, mobile, which everyone is touting, and I am sure, absolutely sure, is going to be a big deal in the near future. Right now, you're only going to reach, now remember, this is online adults. You're only going to reach a certain amount of people. So here's a detail, and let's look at the detail. The detail gives you some further information, but more importantly, what I want you to see is that print catalog, magazine, newspaper, or ordering by phone is right up there, as is the telephone, speaking to a call center representative. I mean, that's pretty huge. Consider the amount of people who still want to connect in a traditional way, right? So when you're looking at your outreach, do not automatically think that everybody out there wants to connect with you online. So what are we going to do? What can we do aside from putting package inserts? Possibly when you deliver an order, make an offer. Give them an extra thing for their next order. I mentioned enclosing a small gift. You can buy little things, keychains, all kinds of little things that people will smile when they get out of the package. But if you don't want to do that, make an offer, maybe 10% off their next order. Give them a time limit. Remember, making an offer without a call to action isn't going to get you very far. Now, if you have a business that's complementary with a local retailer in your area, I've done this many times. If it's a toy dealer and you're selling toys online, maybe you could make a deal with them and help them move merchandise online through your online store. I mean, that's a great way. Perhaps if it's complementary and you're not in direct competition, you can leave flyers or business cards on their desk at a place of business. For example, if it's a hair salon and you sell lots of product, way more than they stock in their store, you can make a deal with them. Maybe give them a commission on the sales, or just make a connection. Connecting with businesses that are complementary to yours will really help you. It's all about connecting. Remember, it ties back into social media. It's all about the social. Join a group in your area that promotes networking. We often forget that we're sitting here on our computers all day. But remember, in the brick and mortar world, if you want to reach the people that are not online, you need to get into their heads. Perhaps join your local Chamber of Commerce. I was a member of my local Chamber of Commerce for many years, and that really helped me build my business with the local community. You'd be surprised how many people are not online again. You may want to speak in front of the group. Tell them a little bit online. You are the expert. If you're online and you're watching this now, you know what you're doing and you're learning. Realize that you're steps ahead of other people who haven't come online yet, right? Before we talk about anything else, I want to show you a great slide. This is a company who I think has done a fabulous job. This is the entrance to the bakery at Western Bagel here in Los Angeles. They're the largest bagel maker. They have a super website. Now, this is a brick and mortar bakery. They're on Facebook. They are on Twitter. If you go to Western Bagel's website, you can get the bagel plan. In other words, you're going to have bagels delivered to your door on a regular basis. So they've taken a brick and mortar bakery and they're taking online orders. Now, wait a minute. You're going to say, how many orders could they get? What difference does it make? Start with your presence. The longer you're online, the longer you interact, you will definitely grow. And that's the important thing. This isn't a quick shot. This is, you want to reach the people in the largest, in the quickest amount of time. Correct? Okay, so let's go back here. And when you're reaching these people, have them follow you on Facebook. When we were talking about Western Bagel, they're on Facebook, they are on Twitter. I get a weekly email with Bagel Brad's Deals of the Week. This is a brick and mortar bakery who has taken their offline, online, and they're building a success story. That is something any offline business can do. And you online people, you know how to do this. Realize a very important conduit to online retailing is the smartphone and the tablet. Take a look at this chart. This is smartphone users in the United States. Now, realize this was done in 2010, but it was a prediction of the growth of smartphone users from eMarketer. And look where they consider in 2015 how many people, individuals of any age who use a smartphone at least once a month. I think it's going to grow even further than this. But realize the smartphone is your conduit to getting people online as well. And we're going to talk about some ways you can do that. But first, one of the things I want you to not forget about is direct mail, sending mailing pieces. Now you think, direct mail, oh, that's so old school, but it really isn't. Direct mail has always worked. It still works. Because, yeah, people get a lot of junk mail, but if you have a brilliantly designed mail piece, it's going to make people want to open it. I got this yesterday. It's from eBay, sent to their top sellers, and you notice they've personalized it to me. And they've personalized the interior even further, telling me how much up my business is since I've made changes to my online plan. I mean, wow, a 210% increase. That's probably a little bogus that my listings have been viewed on eBay. But what a nice direct mail piece. I opened it. People will open your direct mail pieces. Consider that might be too expensive, but consider postcards. Digital printing has gone a long way, and you can buy postcards very reasonably. Again, well-designed postcards. Use digital printing so the color doesn't cost you a fortune. And send them to a select group of people. Don't just blanket send out. Classify your customers. You'll know after time which customers may become new, may become new again. Send them a postcard out after they've placed a nice order. Let them know you're thinking about it. Don't bug them in email, because we certainly all get enough junk email. Direct mail today is really even more important. Let me see. For launching your multimedia marketing campaign, if you integrate direct mail with digital media, thinking Facebook, email, it's really cost effective, and you're putting something in your hands. I mean, that eBay piece I showed you is going to be around my office for a while because it's not throwawayable. It doesn't look like a piece of garbage that's going to come in the mail, and we do get plenty of garbage. I'm going to talk a little bit more about direct mail, but realize that direct mail will definitely help you. Let's talk a little about email. You get an email address with every customer, but remember the 2003 Canned Spam Act says that you can't send somebody email that is non-transactional related unless they give you permission. So I recommend that you ask if people, you notice that you've seen more and more on websites that you have to check a box that says, I'd like to receive more information. Be sure to include that on your order form online. That way you're building a an email list so you can contact these people. Now there's lots of theories on email. My personal theory is I get too much of it. I don't know why some stores think that I want to hear from them every day. And when and hey, there's big agencies involved here. These are really smart people. But honestly, if I get an email every day, I auto-delete. Sometimes I don't even read the subject line. But if I get it once a week, like Bagel Brad, I tend to click it. Or if there's a great subject line. So let me give you a couple best practices I put together on using your email. By the way, I cover all these topics. The Kindle edition just came out in my Social Media Commerce for Dummies. It should be out in about a week. I think you're going to really like the book. It goes into all of this in so much more detail. But when you have an email, keep the layout clean. I showed you, let me see, that lovely eBay card. Clean. This is what we mean by clean versus cluttered. People like to see things clean. If it's clean, it looks professional. It doesn't look cheesy. Use an appropriate font size. And while we're mentioning that, be sure you have an appropriate font size on your web page. How many times have you gone to a web page and you kind of have to go to the screen and go, what does that say? A famous user experience designer said that people need to be able to read an email or your website when they're sitting back in their chair and they're relaxing. Because if they have to go up to the screen and really concentrate to try and read it, they won't spend as much time. So keep your fonts a decent size. Make it readable by everyone. But, like don't go past 14 point or 16. It's a bit much. That kind of makes it look like you're screaming at people. Emphasize a call to action. Always deliver your key message and stick to it throughout the email. Don't start, telling we have this, we have that, we have this, we have that. Make your email with one topic. And if you'd like, people love stories. If there's anything the presidential election taught us, is that stories are effective. People love to hear that. So put a story in it. Tie your product into, I used to say, think infomercial, but that doesn't really work anymore. But think story. How can you tie your product into a story? There was a great catalog back in the day, you might want to Google it, called the J. Peterman catalog. Their merchandise was okay. It was very expensive, but they told a story with each product, and they did big sales. So consider that. Keep the look and feel consistent. You notice in my example with eBay, they have their colors, they have their layout, and they carry it through everything they do. When you get an email, it should have the same feeling, the same basic design patterns, the same colors. That's very important because it constantly identifies with your company. When you have a link, in your email that they click to go somewhere, be sure the landing page ties in with your email. Don't send them to your home page. I mean, you've sold them on an idea. You've told them a story. Get them to the page that's going to have a call to action. And don't make it a screaming call to action. I get way too many emails that are pounding me to buy something. Too old school, too 20th century. Go ahead and give them their message, give them their deal, respect the customer's time. And be sure you carry the graphic look throughout. Test your list. Like I said, you don't have to be sending out to everybody, just as in direct mail. You always have to test your list. Break it out, half and half, A and B. See what message gives you the best results. You can check your click-throughs. You can check your orders. Give the customer a reason to read the email. That's where your subject line is most important. Give them a reason to open it instead of just deleting it. Make them feel like they're going to miss something if they don't read the email. But again, like my mama said, crying wolf doesn't get you anywhere. If you cry wolf enough, nobody's going to believe that you've got a great sale. So you've got to learn to be creative. Test out your A and B. An important thing I've talked about lately, I wish I could trademark it, but it's romancing the customer. Charm your customers. If you're a small business, let them know you're a small business. Let them know that their business means a lot to you. On some of my online listings for the things I sell, I'm constantly promoting do business with family businesses. I just posted on my Facebook fan page, a graphic. On this holiday, I'm going to do business with small businesses, and there are plenty of small businesses online. You can tell when you go to the website. You can tell if it's a family, and if you have a beautifully produced website, I want you to be sure to give an About Us page. Tell about you, the people that work with you, even if it's your family. I mean, that's even better. Show that picture of your dog. People love pictures of dogs, right? Make it personal, because that's what it's all about. Let me see. Include your logo. I don't need to probably remind you of that, but I've designed one or two pieces and gone, oops, no logo. Keep your logo in. And most importantly, how about a blink test? Now, this is my idea on a blink test. Send the email to a couple of your friends or colleagues and just ask them, tell them you're going to do this in advance. I'm going to send you an email. How does it hit you? Does it make you want to open it? Do you enjoy the email? Does the email motivate you? Do you feel my call to action? It's all about feeling and not blatant broadcasting these days. So send it to a couple of chosen people. Have them take a look at it before you mail it out to people, because it's going to cost you money doing any of your marketing. So why not be sure you're doing it best in the beginning? Okay, group text messaging. This gets a little touchy, but if you have a brick and mortar business, I hope, you have a sign-up sheet in your store at the counter where people can sign up. On your website, you might want to have a little thing that says, would you like to receive text messages from us? This is really very, very useful. There's a service called Text Plus that allows you to send out group messaging to different people. Great idea. There's somebody on Twitter, Chicago Cabby. Now, he tweets when he has extra free time. You know, he tells what neighborhood he's in, and he's free for a ride. This is a way to build immediate business. You're having a lull time in your restaurant? Offer a deal. Great idea. Let your customers know about it, but use that SMS texting sparingly and be really sure that you get permission first. Because A, it may be costing people every time they get a text, and B, they may not be interested in hearing from you regularly. So once again, just like in email, direct mail, SMS texting, respect your customer. Be sure you're giving them what they want. You are their friend. You are their advisor. You are there to sell to them. Okay, review sites. Very important. Yelp. More and more online businesses are now being put up on Yelp, not just brick and mortars. People are commenting on what it's like to do business with people. I'm not going to go into all the details right now of how you get everything connected on there, but go to the websites, find the link that says business, and see if your business is already on there. Because more and more people are reading the reviews at Yelp, TripAdvisor, Angie's List. If you have a service business, go on there and be sure, if you're listed, that you claim your page. They don't normally charge you to claim your page, and by claiming your page, you can add extra items on there. You can add photographs, more details about your business. Some even let you run a special. And while we're talking about that, and we talked about tying in of smartphones, consider something like Foursquare. If you have a brick and mortar place that people can check in at, offer a deal. Have a check-in deal. I really love it when I check in at a restaurant or a clothing store, and I'll check in and I'll say, it'll say on my phone, congratulations, you have a check-in deal. You get a free, what's it? You get something free with your deal. I went into one restaurant, and with 2 full dinners, you got a free bottle of wine. Wow, that was pretty good. People aren't always using that right now, but think about it. It's not costing you much money at all. It may not cost you anything to offer a check-in deal. So consider doing that. It's just another way to tie your offline with your online. I talked at length about direct mail, so I'm going to talk even more about QR codes. Everybody says QR codes, QR codes. Nobody uses them, nobody looks at them, and nobody scans on them. But wait a minute. If nobody looks at them, why is everybody using them? I mean, it's costing people money to put them. That's expensive real estate in an advertising message when you put a QR code. Somebody is using them. And they're using the ones from people who are using it right. We talked about direct mail a little while ago. I got this just yesterday from the USPS. Notice there is, a barcode. What they are promoting is to send my cards, ship from the post office. It gives the deadlines, and they say, find approved postal advisors. And if I go to this QR code, it will bring me to a list of people who can help me with my postage. They do a nice little pitch. I hope you can see it. Okay, for the different forms of mail that you can use over the holidays. This is a great little mail piece. Folds up. It's time for the holidays. Beautifully done. And with the QR code, which gives you interaction with your customer. This is when a QR code is used. Let me show you a couple of others. Now, we're talking about a big brand here, right? This is fancy. Vogue magazine. There you go. There's a QR code. People can scan that QR code with their smartphone app and get more information, perhaps about Brooks Brothers, perhaps about wool. We're not sure, but as long as it's tied in, that's great. I see there's a comment that says, love using QR at Best Buy. Yes, as a matter of fact, I ditched my slide on Best Buy, but at Best Buy, they have standing displays where you can click a QR code. You get an instant 10% off. Yeah, and it's also great for research when you're reselling online. If you're out in the world looking for product, you just use QR codes and you can find pricing on what people are charging online for it as to whether you want to buy that item and stock it in your store. Guru of sales, thank you for reminding me of that. Again, that was a magazine ad. But how many of you get Bed Bath & Beyond, right? I definitely look forward to this in my house. And they have a standard 20% off, but in this feature, they have a college checklist. This is where you can go online, see what things somebody might need to go to college, right? And direct them to an interesting page that might bring more business. What it does not necessarily sells, but what it does is build your brand, build your bond with your customer. And you want to build that bond. And where do you want to take them? You want to take them to your website, right? No matter where you sell on the web, you want to take your customers to your website because that is obviously where you're going to make the most money. But you know the one place you should not use a QR code? On a website. I mean, I've come to websites and there's a QR code on there. Really? I mean, I'm going to hold my phone up to the computer to take me to a web page. That's not really best practices. I personally, on my business card, I have a QR code. If someone wants to know more about me, they can scan the QR code and they can go to a page which is going to tell more about me. It's a great way to interact. And I've noticed when I hand the card to people, oh, this is cool. Let me see. Where did it go? Uh-huh. And it's great because you're involving the customer in your brand even more. So some of the things you shouldn't do with a QR code, aside from putting it on a website, don't take a QR code that's going to take someone to a long, involved form that they have to fill out. A QR code is pretty much for quick takes, and that's what you want to do. Use the QR code to drive traffic to the direct page that ties in. For example, the USPS thing. That's taking me to a page which is talking about holiday shopping, holiday shipping. So that's important. You go on my business card. You click on that. It talks about me because about me is what we look for on a business card. You put a QR code on a postcard that talks about an offer. Make it go to that similarly branded, similarly designed page on the web that's going to tie right in with whatever it is that they scanned on the QR code. I'm always looking to scan QR codes. Hey there, Sherry Smith. Good to see you. Also, do not use a QR code to go to a web page that has Flash in it. Flash is going away. Although it is very attractive and still used on the web, a lot of people cannot access Flash. So don't go to a web page where you've got Flash because people just go, oh gosh, fail. I remember I was in a nursery and it was very cool on the little plants they were selling. There was a QR code on the tag and I thought, this is great. If I shoot this QR code, I'll know more about the plant before I buy it. No, it just took me to some stupid page from the nursery. Told me nothing about the specific plant. Fail. Your QR code has to tie directly into your product. And this is one you'll not think about. Obviously, in Best Buy, what's important is that they have great internet reception. Don't put your QR code up on a sign in a place that has no Wi-Fi or decent internet reception. I mean, oh, I got no bars when I stand here, and ooh, there's a QR code I'd really like to scan. Think about your customer. Respect for the customer. You want them to get your message, but you don't want them to get somewhere and get angry at you. Don't use a QR code that's too small. Have you seen some place that they have the teeny little QR codes? I mean, in the samples I showed you, in this ad, it has a prominent place. That's a full-page magazine ad. And look, you can see that QR code so clearly. And certainly back to Bed Bath & Beyond. See, wow, look at that. You're not going to miss that QR code. They're not going to have a problem scanning it. So you've got to make it easy for your customer. So let me think. We've talked about a whole bunch of things here. If there's any questions, I'd like to talk about your online reach building. In your email address, I certainly hope that you're including your social media links in your signature. And don't just use a Twitter icon or a Facebook icon. I mean, at least make it clickable. But honestly, in my personal email signature, I've been using a clickable Twitter and Facebook icon, and I am going to drop them because I've noticed that some people's emails drop any images that come in. They will see your email without the image. So if they're not seeing the image, they don't know it's a link. So have a few choice lines under your signature, aside from your business name. Wise stamp, good idea. That's another good one. Thank you, Sherry. That's brilliant. Because you want people to come to you online. What you've got to do is connect everything all in one. YouTube. Anything about your business you want your customer to know? Make a short video. And when I say short, I don't mean the length of this webcast. I mean make it 2 minutes. Give them a quick tip. No matter what you're selling, if you're a dentist, talk about teeth whitening without selling. Give advice to your customer. You sell clothing? What's the best way to keep red clothing red or even more black clothing black through the washing cycle? If you have a restaurant, perhaps you want to talk about different types of food. I know sometimes when I go to a restaurant, I wonder, they have 8 different kinds of fish on the menu, and half of them I haven't heard of. So what's the difference between those? There's a great, quick 2-minute video. Keep your videos short and engaging, and make people want to connect with them. Let me think. Aside from YouTube, be sure also you're going to put that YouTube link on your web page, your direct mail pieces, your email. Remember that marketing today is about tying it all together. I even know somebody who uses a pre-printed stamp, and they do it on their computer with a QR code on their packages. And they write in Sharpie, scan here. So if you tell stories and you respect the customer, it's going to get you a long way in building your audience. I have found this myself, and I know it works. So don't ignore it. The last thing I want to talk about even though I've been talking kind of fast, is customer service. We have a customer service chat every Tuesday night on Twitter at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, where not just big wheels in customer service get on the line. It's everyday people who have businesses or work for businesses who care or are concerned with customer service. In today's retail and commerce world, the underlying theme I've given you throughout this whole thing is customer service and respecting the customer. You want to save your customers time. You want to make the customer know that you care about them. You want to make them know that they are important to you and your business. Let me see. I don't see any questions. So what I'm going to do is we got a couple of questions that we got ahead of time. How can I determine which of my marketing tactics are driving my customers to my web or my web store? I'll even throw Facebook into that. Don't forget, in my last webinar, I talked about a Facebook store. Remember that Facebook has fabulous, fabulous insights, which will tell you what your popular posts are, where people are coming from to your Facebook page, and you distracted me. Thank you very much on the customer service. And on your website, there are stats, not only, hopefully, from your internet service provider, but there are any number of places. I mean, there's, I think, a site called iSpionage, which is very good, which you can find a lot of information on keywords to use on your website, keywords that would bring people to your website. Also, I use Google Analytics, customer service. I saw Danny said customer service is something that has gone down so badly today that providing it sets you above the rest. Yes, you're right. And this is how small businesses can grab the business from Amazon. Believe it or not, I have certain products that I sell more than Amazon does. Now, I don't have the audience that Amazon does, but for those who come from my market in the United States, my pitch, my telling a story, telling you why you need to buy the product from me, it works. And by continual customer service, they're going to stick with you. Back to our question. Let me see. Google Analytics. I forgot to tell you about that. And there's a very handy tool from Alexa, Alexa.com. You can go to Alexa and look up your website. You can find stats on your website. I think if you're not in the top 100,000 in the world, you're not going to get full data. But that's okay. If you scroll down the page, you're going to get some really, really valuable data. And if you install the Alexa toolbar on your browser and you say you'll do that, then they will reveal even more data to you, even on a small website. So what I do, because I keep so many browser windows open at once, it's ridiculous. So I have more than one browser, and in Internet Explorer, I have the Alexa toolbar. So when I want to do my research for SEO and where I want to put my money, I open up the browser that has the Alexa toolbar, and I can see where my website is standing and what kind of information are people looking for. Yes, also Hootsuite's analytics are really good. There's a site called Crowd Booster. If you're posting, I personally use Visibly, which puts that little banner above every link that you send out that give people links to your other places. Very cool. Very, very cool. By the way, that reminds me, on my Visibly bar, I have a link to my Cool eBay Tools website, which hasn't been redesigned since the beginning of the internet. And I'm currently working on a redesign, which is going to bring it into today's design. That should be about ready mid-month. But that's an important thing, because I want my websites to reflect my brand and my idea of clean design. Let me see some of these other questions. How often should I evaluate or reevaluate my marketing mix? How long is long enough to know if something is working? Wow, that's a tough question. Being in online commerce, what I try to do is get an immediate bead on what's going on. I can tell within a few weeks whether something I'm selling is selling or not selling. You can, as a small business, take an advantage over big business who has reports and white papers and this and that. You can tell if the cash register isn't ringing, something you're doing just isn't working. I reevaluate regularly, maybe every 6 weeks. Obviously, if there's a dip in sales, I go in immediately. I want to know what's causing it. Who's undercutting me in price? Why are they undercutting me? A lot of times on sites like eBay, somebody will undercut your price just to pick up positive feedback because it might be an easy item to sell. Know that those people aren't in it for the long run. Don't try and compete. Don't drop your price. Just wait it out because eventually, especially if they're not a top seller, and I haven't really talked about eBay's top sellers, but somebody who's a top seller on eBay has to adhere to all kinds of special customer service requirements. And eBay monitors this. It's how quick you ship. It's how you communicate with your customer. So by becoming a top seller, it's important. It's not just getting positive feedback. So unless you actually perform, you're not going to get that customer feedback that's fully positive, and you're not going to become a top seller. By the way, as a top seller on eBay, you get 20% off of your final value fees, which I will tell you is pretty huge. What are inexpensive offline marketing tactics? Again, joining a group, letting the people in your community know at the Y, putting up a flyer on the billboard. Let people in your community know. That doesn't cost you a thing. If you're an expert on the subject, contact your local Rotary Club. If you're a consultant, you may get some business from talking to Rotary, Kiwanis, any of those business people clubs, as well as the Chamber of Commerce. Which social media networks offer paid marketing opportunities aside from my direct engagement with my followers or connections? Well, it's getting to be kind of all about paid these days, right? Facebook has sponsored stories, promoted posts, running ads. Honestly, and I think it has been proven that ads aren't really clicked all that well on Facebook because this goes back to what I told you originally, that it's more personal now. It's all about telling a story. So you want to tell a story. Promoted posts are probably best. Sponsored posts, and they're two different things. You'll have to check that. I can't walk you through that right now, but on Facebook. As a matter of fact, I have a holiday tips sheet that's available for download. After this webcast is over, probably tomorrow, I'm going to promote that probably as a sponsored story. And know that when you're on my page and you see promoted or sponsored posts, 99% of it, I'm not doing it to build my brand. I'm doing it to test out what works. And these Facebook promotions you can do for $5, $10, $15, $20. I think I once spent $40,000 and reached 30,000 people. That's pretty huge. But I wasn't really selling anything. I was just testing. So just know that you have to test these things. Let me see. How can I determine which of my my marketing tactics are driving customers to my brick and mortar store? Foot traffic? Is the cash register ringing? You can do all the spreadsheets in the world that you want, but you got on one side the money you're spending, the time you're spending. You've got on the other side how much money is coming in. When you're a small business, you know that. There's no mystery. And if you don't know it, you need to get on it. Because as the owner or the person who runs a small business, you're going to need to stay on top of things. You can't tell me your day is too busy. You've got too much stuff to do. Your sales need to be your priority, and you need to be checking on this constantly. If anybody has a question who's out there, I'd love to see it because I'm just about to wind down here. Are certain marketing channels better for building awareness while others are better for driving feet clicks? It's such a puzzle, and we've got a big time agency on here listening to this webinar. It's different for everybody, and that's the conundrum. I can't give you a blanket answer that what works for Guru of Sales, that works for Sherry, that works for Danny, that's going to work for Marsha Collier or your store. You have to feel your way. And if you're going to go into social media, you've got to devote to it. You can't just auto post once a day. You've got to get involved in the conversation. You've got to be involved with the people that are on there. The direct mail postcards, I recommend those highly. I think that's an immediate thing you can do to build your business. And if you don't want to spend the money on a bulk mailing, be sure to include them in your packages. I can't think of anything else. Anything else? Well, I just wanted to tell you what I want you to do is remember your return on investment. Your return on investment is great. I'm looking for something. Your return on investment is what makes your cash register click. It's what's going to work for you and your business, which may be different for the business right next door or on another website. So I want to thank you again for everybody who's joined the discussion or who's watching this on an archive. I love to see you. Join me Facebook, Twitter, at Marsha Collier. I'm there all the time. And thanks to Dymo and Disha for setting this up. My next live chat's going to be on December 4th, which happens to be my birthday. It's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Join me here again. It's 3 weeks, and we're going to talk about how to make it easy to connect and sell. If you'd like to email me or connect with me, post some questions on my Facebook page. Let's get down to the real, let's talk the 60s, the nitty gritty. Get down to the real thing that you want to know, and I'm more than happy to answer it. Thank you very much, and I want everybody to have a happy, happy Thanksgiving.